Hello, my Taurus friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today to talk about January 2025, your monthly horoscope. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology. So when I'm talking about Taurus, I'm referring to Taurus rising as the first house and dictating the landscape of the chart. If you don't know your rising sign, you'll want to go to one of the free birth calculators on the internet. You just need your exact time of birth and location to determine that information. When I refer to a day and a time, it's based on the Pacific time zone, so please adjust for your location. Let's pull up the chart and let's look at what's going to happen. It's going to be a pretty fiery start to the new year as we have an opposition between Pluto and Mars. And this opposition is happening in your 10th house and your 4th house, with Pluto being in your 10th house, which rules your public reputation, your social status. It's a very career driven, it's the very top of the chart. And we see that Leo is your 4th house of home. This opposition has been going back and forth, but since late October, November, early November of 2024. But at that time, Pluto was in Capricorn in your 9th house. Now Pluto has moved into your 10th house, and the energies are a little bit more aggressive. We have a rebellious energy of Aquarius. We have the power and the control over our psychological imprint represented by Pluto. And then we have Mars. And Mars is really not in good favor in this opposition. Mars is the underdog. So as Mars transits from your 4th house back into its fall of Cancer in your 3rd house, something's going to come up that has to do with some kind of psychological imprint that's been holding you back or been somehow tethering you to an old dynamic that's no longer necessary or no longer applicable or potentially current in your life. Oftentimes, humans tend to operate on an old operating system. We will see the nodes are going to change signs. We see right now that they are on the 0 degree. The north node is on the world axis of your 12th house, and the south node is about to enter your 5th house. This is going to be a 1.5-year transit where, as the north node moves into Pisces, it's going to really compel you on some level to use your creativity in a way that serves humanity. We see the 11th house is where we see the World Wide Web, we see cosmic consciousness, we see our hopes and our dreams. And your hopes and your dreams could very well be, a number one priority for this next 1.5 years. And as it should be, if you ask me. We will see Venus enter her exaltation on the 3rd in Pisces. And this is the beginning of a journey through Pisces. It's going to go on for about 4 months. She's going to tip her toe into Pisces, or I should say she's going to transit all the way through Pisces, your 11th house. Then she's going to tip her toe in your 12th house of Aries before she retrogrades back into Pisces. So what's happening is a concentration of planets that's going to happen in your 11th house, which you could take advantage of and really launch something that is birthed from your heart, your imagination, your dream world. We see that at this particular time, as she enters the exaltation, she becomes the focal point of a transit yod. I like to call them a transit yod, where the south node is in a quincunx to Venus, as is Mars. And this makes Venus the focal point. So the south node is compelling me on some level to see myself as source energy, to trust my ability to create and to use my voice, to use my talents, to use my skills to birth whatever I want on this planet. And Mars is retrograde, is really here at the 0 degree of Leo, is tasking you at this time to see how brave are you to birth your own creative expression, your own creative opinion, your own perspectives. So this is a very powerful moment, because as she transits, she doesn't always come into this focal point. Now let's go to the 6th, where we will see Mars retrograde back into Cancer in its fall. Now, it's still in the opposition to Pluto. It is being favored by, or it is being supported as it moves into this challenging energy for Mars. It's being supported by the North Node and South Node, but also Neptune at this time. So as Mars moves into your 3rd house, you're going to start to revisit how brave you are in your communications, how you can be a hero in your own life when you allow any anger, resentment, or any old energies that have been festering underneath to be rewritten or to be, I hate the word release. I prefer to integrate things and to turn them into wisdom. So that's what's going to be offered. And you can't see it right now because of the square and a half to Saturn. Saturn rules history, and the house of Pisces rules the soul's history. So Mars may feel very validated in some of his perceptions, but will they work for Mars moving forward? Does it help to continue to talk over and over again about what has held me back versus focusing in on my future, on my hopes and my dreams? I think this is further evidenced by Mercury, as Mercury is right now on the galactic center. When you have a personal planet within a degree or two of at the most 3 degrees of 27 degrees of Aquarius, you have an ability to download solutions through your meditations, your prayer work, your walking meditations. So here there's an opportunity, but Mars can't quite see it. Mars is still kind of submerged in these emotions and feeling a sense of frustration. And I think that's evidenced by the opposition to Pluto. All right. So now, pardon me, while I turn my page in my notes, Mercury will enter Capricorn on the 8th. Let's see if we get her there. Yes, Mercury has now entered Capricorn. This is where the thoughts become very sustainable. Like I start thinking, how do I want to build something? What's the practical application? What feels logical? What feels enduring? So I think that as Mercury goes through the sign of Capricorn, which is your 9th house, you could very well be building new beliefs, moving in new directions as a result of the epiphanies that you're having, because we're still feeling this opposition. It's 8 days into the new year, and we're still feeling this opposition between Pluto and Mars. And I think that's the big enchilada for January. And even moving forward, because we're going to move all the way back to 17 degrees of Cancer before, and that's in February, before Mars moves forward again. On the 12th, we will see the nodes move from the Libra Aries axis to the Pisces Virgo axis, and I'll be doing a separate video on that. This is going to be in your, again, 11th and 5th house. Right now, the wheel happens to be on Taurus rising, and we see that Mars is sitting right at the top of your, Pluto's sitting right at the top of your midheaven here. This is an opportunity to change your career, your public status in some way, to bring in more resources. And I think that this is further supported by the trine to Uranus in your 1st house. Uranus has been retrograding, and when it moves forward again and goes into those last degrees of your 1st house, it's really going to give you an opportunity to see the future more succinctly. And then as Uranus moves into Gemini later in the year, this is really where you can, be liberated by using your voice. The Gemini energy is speaking, teaching, writing. So somewhere here you have a voice to express. All right, we will see a full moon on the 13th at 23 degrees of Cancer. That's going to happen at 2:26 p.m. conjunct Mars. I will be doing a separate video on that. So let's now go to the 19th, where we will see Venus and Saturn in a conjunction. I think that this is a summit of strategy. Literally, Venus is speaking of her creativity, and Saturn is giving her the tools to build a sustainable life. And as I said earlier, Venus is going to tip her toe into Aries and then move back into your 11th house of hopes and dreams. Saturn naturally rules the 11th house. It's a co-ruler of the Aquarius. So there's an opportunity for things to build over time as you age, as you season on this planet. We're going to see the North Node and Neptune continuing to travel together. This, to me, is a stretch for more creativity, more feeling of the divinity within me to experience my soul as it is expressing itself in this human dynamic. We also see that the sun will enter Aquarius the next day, and it'll be an exact conjunction with Pluto. Now, it's interesting because they say that the sun combusts every planet that it comes into conjunction with. And yet at the same time, there's something very powerful about Pluto for me, because the sun is my ego expression out into the world, and Pluto is that psychological imprint that the world doesn't see. So this coming together makes me feel as if there's an opportunity for integration, to suddenly start to look at yourself and to look at the energy of your public status, and to allow for the rebirthing, the phoenix that rises from the ashes. That is Pluto's promise to you, to rise once whatever lies that you tell yourself, or whatever power and control is dominating you in a negative way. Pluto's going to blow that up. Just blow that up. All right, let's go to the 22nd, where we will see Venus and Mars in a trine. Now, Venus is, click on that. Venus is moving forward and Mars is moving backwards. And this trine is going to get tighter and tighter as the month ends. And I really think that this is supportive in using Venus, helping Mars to use creativity to overcome whatever is going on in your third house. That third house is the house of communications, but it's overlaid with the home and family and the experience of mother, being a Cancer energy. So somewhere you're getting an opportunity here to have a supportive experience. And I think that could be channeling your childhood experience, your life path up until now, using that as the muse for your creativity, kind of turning that frown upside down, maybe turning lemons into lemonade. And I think that this is further evidenced by this opposition between Mercury and Mars. This opposition is Mercury, revisiting the history. And Mars is in fall, again, not in a strong position. So Mars is becoming more aware and more aware of how much it talks about what happened in the rearview mirror versus what's happening over here in the future. Again, this is your 11th house, your future. All right, let's go to the 27th, when Mercury will join the Aquarian energy and Pluto. We see, I'll go a little later in the day it happens, but here we see Mercury's at 1 degree, Pluto's at 1 degree. This is really going to bring up those thoughts of what holds me back. Where do my fears, my trepidations, my insecurities tend to hold me in a pattern that doesn't allow me to expand? I think this is really, really a powerful thing to pay attention to right now, because this is not about trying to figure out how it happened or why it happened. This is just an awareness that it happened, and then allow yourself to move beyond it. And again, using your creativity as the vessel for that experience or for that movement. On the 29th, we'll have a new moon in Aquarius. I will do a separate video on that. And on the 30th, we're going to see Uranus move direct in your first house. This to me is the last few degrees of Uranus really offering you a new experience. Uranus rules naturally the 11th house. So we see Saturn, the co-ruler of the 11th house, in the 11th house. We see the co-ruler of the 11th house in your first house, giving you an opportunity to revolutionize yourself, to bring in a new version of yourself by building upon the old. That's the way I see it. Uranus is going to be direct from or what did I write here? Oh, the other thing that's interesting is that Uranus is staying at 23 degrees, the Aquarian degree. So I've got this aspect of, I'm seeing Uranus and Venus. So we're using our creativity. We are being supported by the South Node. So we're in process. We're understanding that it is a journey. And it's also, we're seeing a supportive energy here with Mars. Because what we're doing is we're looking to the future. And then, so you're going to feel this 23 degrees will happen all the way from, it started December 19th, 2024, and it will stay at 23 degrees until March 12th, 2025. So this is basically a huge standing in the sky, as if Uranus is looking at all of you Taurus risings and say, will you step into your future? Will you step into your hopes and your dreams? Are you willing to understand that I am an energy that rewards over time? Because that's the 11th house. And finally, we kind of see it happening already. We have our stellium is growing now in Pisces, but let's go to the last day of the month. And we see that Venus and Neptune are both exact. This is just a really, to me, a very dreamy time. The idea that the nodes are in a conversation with Neptune and Venus very much says to me that this is a time to be fabulously flawed, to understand that if I didn't have a hurdle to overcome, I wouldn't be confident in moving my story forward. Because the South Node in Virgo is really tasking us to be on a journey of discovery, not of perfection, a journey of enjoyment, not of slavery. Because that North Node is compelling us into this dreamy world that we want to live in. And what's the potential when we apply our spiritual principles to our everyday life? This Venus ruling money at the 27th degree, we're looking at the Gemini degree. Neptune ruling spirituality. I think these here are asking me repeatedly to be mindful of my connection to spirit as I endeavor to manifest things in my material world. I'm going to stop my share right now. So basically, the beginning of the month or the beginning of the year starts off with this sort of challenging energy to look at where my fears and trepidations have become something that blocks me, and to really assess whether those fears and trepidations are still valid or they're based on an old story that's not really true anymore. And then as you go, recognize that energy moving into the months ahead will be so much more effective because you'll have an intention that's more razor focused. And as a Taurus, you are naturally willing to endure the time and the effort it takes to grow things, to plant things into the ground and be patient and nurture them. So this could be a pivotal year for you, especially having this Uranian energy in those last degrees of your first house, giving you a glimpse into your future and what the potentials could be. All right, that's it for me for January 2025. Please check out your Love and Money Tarot card reading and your yearly horoscope, where I went through month by month and highlighted some of the aspects that I think are going to be most influential for you. They will come up at the end of the video if you wait. All right, Taurus, thanks so much. Sending you lots of love for a wonderful 2025. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer. Please hit that like button, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll get notice on all the new content that's coming out. All right, thanks so much. See you soon.